Hi, this is Keith with Crestline Coach Tours ALF. In this quick video, I'm going to walk you through exactly what to do when you receive our email titled Contact Confirmation plus Mobility Census Request, which will then enable us to provide to you a detailed transportation assessment creation, which is a document that'll help guide you through evacuation when that time comes and to be prepared for it through the season. This process is simple, complimentary, and only takes a few minutes. It is simply asking you to confirm your facility contact information and to confirm your current resident mobility census. In the middle of the email, which is right here, which here's the full email, you will see this blue button. That blue section right above it, titled Current Information on File, shows your ALF ID, your facility name, contact information, licensed bed capacity, as well as your current mobility breakdown and your staff to evacuate, which are the staff that are traveling with your residents. Everything shown is treated as preliminary until you confirm or correct it. Our planning accounts for licensed bed capacity in all instances. When you sign a contract with us or in the detailed transportation assessment, in all instances, we automatically account for your licensed bed capacity. But the detailed transportation assessment is built primarily around your actual residents in-house today and their mobility needs. Both are important to emergency planning. We naturally guide you through the process as simple as it can get to achieve both results and to have a plan that responds either way. That's what this update helps us confirm. So step 2, then you click on to your facility information and resident mobility button. It loads your facility update portal automatically and puts in your facility. As you can see, it took a few seconds there, and that's typically how the system responds. Once you're in that form, you can see here, it has your current census today, your staff riders. It has your standard coach ready group. These are the people who are step boarding your residents that are in any category but can manage step boarding. That's where they would go. Enter the count who can board the motor coach steps with staff assistance to the greatest extent of their ability. Includes residents who use wheelchairs day to day but can stand and board with staff assistance during evacuation. So the idea there is to get as many of your residents in the greatest extent of their capability classified in the standard coach ready group so that it simplifies and streamlines your plan when it comes to evacuating. Because if you have more than absolutely necessary of wheelchair confined or bedbound residents, which may be very applicable because that requires additional supplemental transportation that a bus cannot handle. So this is about understanding the greatest extent for a very robust transportation emergency management planning if your full facility needs to evacuate because of any of the mitigating circumstances that may require that. Having said that, let's go through the current census. In this facility snapshot, which is a sample facility, we're not showing any particular facility here, but we do have some sample numbers entered so that you can see exactly how it does work. The first section here just provides a little bit of directions. The next section here is the resident mobility. This is your logistics snapshot. It'll help you understand exactly where your residents are at today and your current census is today. And then we have the facility contact information. This is the name of your facility. If it should change ever, you can change it right here in the system, so you always have complete control over that. It has the ability to change names or change your executive director or other details that sometimes happen in the life cycles of assisted living facilities, their staff, and the way they operate. So in this case, we have Hillmore facility. Let's say there was a slight name change and on their documentation, they needed to state a bit different. Let's say in this case, they needed to state Hillmore resident facility. Well, that change could be made right there, and it's already done just by doing that. Let's say the licensed bed capacity, 262, always usually remains the same. But let's say in this specific instance that they increased their bed size because they had a building change or maybe they did some updates to their building and that they now have 264 licensed bed capacity. Well, that would be reflected right there also easily changeable, which could also have reflection on your current census, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Then you confirm your address, your city and state, make sure everything there is good, and then your executive director, primary email and phone. If you have additional contacts, which is always helpful, this could be an assistant to the executive director or planning person, that goes in a second contact name. And then for the third contact name, this is for corporate or other, maybe an owner, and they go here. And if you would like, you can leave us a message for whatever you updated or whatever concerns are on your mind, and we'll also respond to those when we get your detailed transportation assessment out to you. And if you prefer, you may also request a scheduled call, and you just simply come here, you click the date that's best for you, let's say on the 4th, and you then indicate whether you want to include the individuals you have in your second contact, a planner or a helper or owner or corporate, into the meeting. And then you would write here what it is about: to discuss resident mobility and contracting, whatever it may be. You put your name here. Very good. You requested a meeting. Now you want to check for a time. You already chose a date. It's providing 2 available times. So look at your calendar. Make sure you can show up for this. And then click the time that's best for you. It will include your second or third contacts if you include them. You do not have to. So it's completely at your discretion. And then you scroll down and you can save and update the profile once you made your changes. Now anything here might need changes, and you can go over that as you need to. But let's go back here to the logistics snapshot resident mobility. Current census today, let's say in this instance it's changed to 165. Staff riders remain the same, and the standard boarding, let's say it's gone to 105. And then we can see the wheelchair confined. We know, oh no, we thought we had 7, but we could technically make sure that we can transfer them to nearby seating. So we'll go ahead and include only the 2 that absolutely need to stay in their wheelchair for whatever reasons, medical reasons, they can't leave their wheelchair. And then bedbound residents, we happen to pick up an extra bedbound resident, so now we have 7 there. And that's perfect. You'll notice here that because you've already isolated and indicated the total number of people who can use step boarding with your staff assistance, this is an auto-calculated number, your lift to seat. This is residents who use a wheelchair to lift but then need transference to a seat nearby. Right now we currently have 51. That would absolutely indicate a need for ADA motor coach, which would be determined in previous answers. Now, if you see that result and you realize that creates complicated planning that you otherwise can resolve through step boarding, then you just simply make up the difference by coming here, looking at your current total census, realizing that 9 of these are absolutely confirmed circumstances in resident mobility that cannot be changed, but these other ones could be assisted, you might think, and if that is true, it makes your planning more simple. Doesn't mean it's necessary. It means we're finding the path to the greatest contingency within your plan. So 165 is your current census, minus the 9 individuals who are in bedbound and wheelchair confined would leave 151 residents that are in this category. Let's say you got your count wrong. Actually, it's a 156. You see at the bottom here, you can tell a lot from that number. The other thing you could tell is if you put 157 in here, and it goes over your current census, it'll bring that out so that you can look over this more carefully and correct it. So it's interactive, and it helps you get to the accurate numbers that your facility truly needs in order to evacuate and primarily put everybody in the categorizations that will make evacuation day the most efficient with the most contingency planning built and baked into the plan, so that the detailed transportation assessment that comes afterward accurately reflects how it can best help you prepare for your resident mobility. It also accounts for your full licensed bed capacity, so don't think you get caught up there if things grow. So both are accounted for. So that looks accurate. We updated that. We updated the facility name. Let's say that the executive director has changed, because that sometimes happens in facilities. Owners and corporate understand how often that is, although we still keep the facility streamlined to the process. So let's say John Smith was the executive director, but now it's Jane Smith. So we'll put Jane Smith in there. Everything else remains the same, or maybe the email might change, or maybe the phone number might change. Nonetheless, you could also update if there is an ownership takeover, a new owner, or a new corporate contact. You could put them in third contact area. Once everything looks good, you might include a little bit of notes here, like I updated my facility name and executive director. and resident mobility. Once you've reached this conclusion, everything looks good, everything's updated, you can't make any mistakes here. If you save the form and you realize you made a mistake, you could just simply go in and update the form again. So it's very interactive and it's very mistake-proof for you, baked into the process already. All right, so with that said, let's say it's time to update this. Before we update this, recognize we made some changes. John Smith went to Jane Smith. Hillmore facility went to Hillmore resident facility. We changed the current census. Now we put 165 on there. Remember those details because we're going to save and update this, and then it's going to take a few minutes. It's going into our Crestline databases. It's changing all the information that we updated, making us aware that this update was done so that you'll get a complimentary detailed transportation assessment along with a proposal in order to handle your transportation. Once it's completely submitted, then you will get notification that will indicate that the form has been submitted and it is in processing. It's done, okay? So now we can go back and you'll see that everything is exactly the way you put it. Confirmed in the system just the way it is. And you'll see that's true because if we come over here and we refresh the page and it brings back the facility, reloading it from the state that's in the database, what you'll notice is your updated information will already be present in the file because you've updated it yourself. So it leaves you control over that. See, now you see your current census is still 165. That's what you just updated. Your staff riders are accurate. Your standard coach ready step residents are accurate. Your wheelchair confined residents are accurate. Your bedbound residents are accurate. You have no extra leftover auto-calculated lifted seat residents. But let's say you took on another 8 residents who currently are confined to a wheelchair, but under stringent circumstances during an evacuation can absolutely be helped into the coach by a lift, not by the steps perhaps. Plus 8 of those residents would be 173. Now you can see, auto-calculated, it doesn't leave them out. It accounts for them. Every time you always look at the greatest extent, the standard coach ready residents, everything else will become obvious. If they can't make it up the steps, they need a lift. So that's why the system is built in that way. But you always want to try and include as many people that you can make it up those steps with. Also, as things change, it's very simple to update these numbers as you go. You're only updating a very few numbers, and you're getting a lot of details back that help you plan. That's the way our system works. It keeps things as simple for you as possible while providing the results no less, no more simple than absolutely accurately needed to plan for emergency circumstances. That said, everything looks good. You made a slight change. That too can be changed just simply by saving and updating the profile. If you do this before we send out the detailed transportation assessment, let's say you updated something and then you realize you needed to update something else consecutively back to back because you forgot something, then you would simply make a new submission and we will always use your latest submission provided to us. If in the meantime we already provided a detailed transportation assessment, you can simply ignore it and you can update your information. We will get notification and we will send you over a new detailed transportation assessment. So that's how that works. If you have any questions concerning this, feel free to reach out. You can reach our office at 407-900-3995. I'm Keith, and I'll be happy to help you out. Thank you, and have yourself a God-blessed, wonderful day.